Hello, ladies. I'm going to talk about how the spoon theory works and specifically how it can help in terms of managing your chronic condition. So, I'm going to apply it to my chronic condition. I currently have two, but the one that I've had the longest is Myasthenia gravis, as you'll probably be aware of. And I also have severe arthritis, which probably started in about 2010-ish, something like that. So the spoon theory has been around for a number of years and very clearly highlights what life is like for someone with a chronic condition. The lady who came up with it has lupus and she applies it specifically to her condition and how it relates to her. So I'm going to relate this to myasthenia. So on any particular day, I will wake up in the morning, and during that waking up process, I will get a very good idea of whether I'm going to be having a good day or a bad day. A bad day generally starts off when I actually oversleep. My body doesn't want to get going. I struggle to wake up, and it's very hard work to get everything moving and to get out of bed. So at that point, I know I've got less spoons. For me, there isn't a case that I have so many spoons every day and I can borrow from one day to the next and save spoons and spend them the next day or anything like that. So on my bad days, I have considerably less spoons. Say on a good day, I have 20 spoons. A healthy person will have 100 plus spoons, 200 spoons. The amount of spoons they have in comparison to me is just astronomical. They don't think about how many spoons they have. They don't have to think about how much energy is going to be expended on the tasks that are going to be carried out that day. So on a bad day, I wake up. I'm struggling to wake up. Everything feels really heavy. It's hard to climb out of bed and go to the bathroom, and then you have to get dressed. Now, a long time ago, I made the decision that I wouldn't actually shower first thing in the morning. I would shower late afternoon, 5 or 6 o'clock, if I had enough energy left at that point. Because, especially in the early days, I would probably have only 2 or 3 spoons in the mornings, most days. So the really, if I showered, that was me wiped out until lunchtime or so. So I certainly wasn't capable of going to work, and it just meant that the whole day was a write-off. So by moving showering to much later in the day and only to days when I had sufficient spoons, it meant that I could actually do something other than just wash and get dressed. Anyway, so on a good day, I wake up and I have, say, 20 spoons. And I know I don't have to use any for showering because I'm going to leave that till later in the day. So then I get dressed, I brush my hair. So combing my hair takes up quite a lot of energy. So that's probably 1 spoon down, and getting dressed, that's another spoon, that's more energy. In myasthenic terms, all of my voluntary muscles are affected, which means that all of the time I'm using them, I'm using energy. So the most active voluntary muscles are breathing and your eyes. Digestion and the heart are involuntary, so I don't have to plan for those. Those I know will take care of themselves. But to make sure that my breathing isn't compromised, because obviously I need to breathe, and that I can see, I can keep my eyes open, those are going to be the ones that are critical, and those are the ones that I, must have enough spoons to do. Otherwise, I can't do anything else. So At the start of the day, it's a good day. I've got 20 spoons. So I've got up out of bed, I've combed my hair, I've got dressed, I've spent a couple of spoons. I don't brush my teeth until a little bit later as well. Just what I like to do is try and spend my spoons evenly throughout the day and not to have big splurges. If I spend a load of spoons in the first hour, then it's quite possible I'm not going to have enough spoons or enough energy to get through the rest of the day. So that's how I pace myself. So I've now got up, I've got dressed, and I look at the day. So I'm feeling good. So if I want to go shopping with my husband, I can go. I can go on one trip, but I can't go on two trips. So we could do Sainsbury's today and maybe do Asda tomorrow, or more likely we'll do one store a week at most, and we'll order online. Because shopping you don't have to do in person, and 90% of the stuff is perfectly adequate if someone else picks it. So I've been able to save spoons since we've been using online shopping a lot more. Initially, when I first tried it back in the early 2000s, it was really poor. And I remember one Christmas, I'd put a big order in for Tesco, and it turned up and there was no booze, and my husband was very upset, and there were lots of things missing, and it just was a very poor offering at that stage. But that's a long time ago. We're more than 20 years on from that. These days, the variety and the quality of goods is far better. So that saves spoons ordering online. So I've got my day. I want to be able to do, I can do one activity outside, that's fine. I shall need a spoon to eat at lunchtime. Um, if it's chewy, if there's a lot of chewing involved, then I would probably need two spoons. And then, so we carry on throughout the day. And basically, that then means that I can get more out of the day. On my bad days, when I've got three or four spoons, then I spend most of the day really conserving the very little energy I have, and I'll make myself a cups of tea, or my husband will, and I'll sit on the sofa and I'll either read if my eyes don't droop too much, and play with the tablet or watch TV or something like that, which is minimal stress. I'm not moving my hands and my arms and my body, so I'm not expending too much energy. I do have to think about how much time I spend talking, because that uses a lot of energy. So throughout the day, I try not to have very long conversations or long meetings with people, and that then means that I don't use too many of my spoons. So that's kind of how my day works. It's a case of, if I need to do anything, if I need to go out particularly or meet someone, those are spoons. So I have to plan those in advance. And unfortunately, there are going to be times when those myasthenic days clash with things that I've booked, and then I have to cancel. And I'm pretty used to that. Most of pretty much anything I do can be cancelled and rescheduled, and has had to be. So, so one of the things that everybody knows about me is that um, I will change plans at the very last minute numerous times, and that is just a feature of how I live. So everything has slack built in. If people give me deadlines, I always do my best to meet them, but I know that I cannot promise always to meet them. And that was one of the reasons why, when I was working and was diagnosed with myasthenia, that was extremely challenging, because I couldn't meet deadlines. I could never guarantee that I could turn up for a meeting, or that I'd be able to work on a particular day, or that I'd be able to finish a task at a particular time. And that was just impossible. So that's how the spoon theory relates to me. Um, for a normal person, you don't have to plan how you spend your energy. For me, my energy is far more valuable than money. For people, money is important and they use it to buy things. me, I look upon my energy as that resource as something that's really important, and I use it to buy um, activity, time doing things that I want to do. So, do I want to spend 10 spoons cleaning the house? No, I haven't cleaned for 20 years. I've done little bits and pieces to help my husband, but essentially he does it. I don't do chores. I do the very, very minimum simply because every time I expend energy doing that, I can't do something that I actually want to do. So that's the spoon theory for myasthenia. It's been a really good way to explain how you prioritize and schedule and manage your life. It's totally different from a healthy person and a normal person because they wake up in the morning and they have activities and they do things and they go places, and that's very much their life. But my life is very much a case of if I can, I will do it, and if I can't, I won't. And at first, it was really hard to understand how many spoons I had and how best to prioritize my energy. The hardest thing is learning how many spoons I've got. Even now, I misjudge on some days how many spoons I've got, and I end up completely exhausted and collapsing in a heap. It doesn't happen as much as it did initially, but I have got to the point generally where I do understand my body. A lot of it is knowing your body, knowing your limits, and always keeping the reserves, always allowing a lot of margin and trying to overestimate how many spoons you might need, because something that might be really simple might suddenly become extremely challenging. When I get tired, for instance, I find talking very difficult and keeping my eyes open and just keeping focused. I'm so busy then with my brain just trying to physically hold up my head and to keep producing sound and to keep looking ahead and not to be so focused on what's happening inside and how to stop my body collapsing and things like that. So all of those things, they take spoons, and I think I've learned to spend them in a far better way than I did certainly 20 years ago. Um, Thank you. Goodbye.